Tell me about the elements of networking that you have learned. I know you're very well connected with a lot of people. How do you go about
Yeah.
cultivating that?
I mean, let's say, and I appreciate that. I don't know if I'd agree with it, but let's say we're starting from zero. Let's say I'm graduating from college and I have this big idea that I want to get out and interact with the market on. I think what you need to do is, if you're especially an enterprise, these people have limited time and they're getting pitched. They're probably not going to open some sort of cold email. Really do your homework, and you need to show them that you really think they're the right person to talk to, and show them that you, again, read an article they wrote, saw what they said on a certain podcast, something like that. Pre-COVID networking was like the happy hours, the conferences, etc. Now a lot of it's digital. Where the world's heading with AI, I mean, it's hard if you want to send an email to the C-suite of any enterprise customer cold. There's so much noise for you to stand out and even get an open of that email, much less engagement and time. It's getting harder and harder and harder. So my recommendation would be maybe a second degree. So how do you find someone maybe that has been in this space for a long time and maybe is now retired, or someone who's a consultant in that space, or someone who is a friend of a friend that's willing to sit down and talk to you, and then they get excited about what you're doing and they know some people, and you basically create this network effect through people where you earn the right to have those conversations. And you also don't want to go into, let's say, your top prospective customer as your first conversation, and you're wrong on those hypotheses. So I guess to be more succinct, find people that are in that space, maybe not the direct person that would be the buyer. Find a way to talk to them. And maybe these are more junior people, maybe they're adjacent bankers, consultants, recently retired people, often are passionate about, depending on the industry, like helping to solve problems that they're no longer working on day to day. And then they'll say, often, by the way, like, these are people that used to work for me or I've talked to. And then you just start creating, again, I call it that surface area of conversations to refine your hypotheses and ultimately get those first few customers on the hook.
How are you able to do those connections without people feeling like you're using them, or people feeling that you're only talking to them because you're interested in an introduction to someone else? Or, there's a very personal element around that. I think we can sense when someone is trying to get something out of us. How do you go about that?
I think there's two ways to do it, but both stem from people are in general aware if you're trying to get something out of them. So one is radical transparency and directness, and saying like, hey, I have this idea. I'm trying to understand if I'm on point or not. And I'd love to talk to you. And then my goal is to go talk to 10 people in the space. And if after this conversation you think they'd be interested, I'd really appreciate introduction. So you're just direct about it, but you're not. It's the medium soft sell, if you will, but you're just saying, hey, I want your feedback, but I also would love introductions. The other thing I would say is, like, because people are aware of it, if they do buy into your vision and where you want to go and they get excited about it, they're going to organically offer different introductions. So let's go back to the example I gave of this diabetes management telehealth idea that you and I have, and we're talking to somebody, let's say that's at a local university at MIT outside of Boston where I live, and they're in the research lab doing some stuff with GLP-1s, which are all the rage these days. And I'm talking to them. I would go either path. I wouldn't go in the middle, meaning like, oh, this is just a friendly conversation, and then follow up, hey, do you know anyone that it would either be Axel, like, hey, I really want your advice on how to navigate this. And my goal is to talk to 10 of the largest health systems in rural areas. Like, can you think through the lens of them? And do you know anyone that could make those introductions, like, on the spot? Or it's, we're having a conversation about this, and you can infer that that's the logical next step. And a lot of time people will offer it. It's a good litmus test, meaning like if after that conversation, they don't think that you have something that will be interesting to those people, they're not going to make intros. If you do, they'll often offer it because they're excited about it. And they're like, this person will actually find this interesting, and it'll help their credibility, right? And they're bringing something innovative to their peers or to old colleagues or friends, etc. So again, I'd say there's some science behind it, and then there's the art. I think you don't want to get caught in the middle. You either want to be really direct, I'd love your guidance and I'd love these intros, or the other end, the zero pressure, just want your feedback. but also knowing if you believe in what I'm doing, you'll likely connect some dots and make some intros on our behalf.
I also think that if you're working on something that is clearly like a long-term investment of what you're doing personally, you don't even have to carry that pressure of like trying to make the sale right away or trying to make the connection right away, because you know that this is a long-term career advancement movement, or like a long-term journey where you have been working in the same space for how many years from now, right?
Yeah.
Like every person that you're meeting every month or every year is an added connection to your network of people, and you don't have to rush it so much. I think it happens with younger people. Like we are desperate to like make something happen, and we forget that a lot of the top people in any industry that you look at, they have been doing that for decades, and all of their friends and the access that they have, that has been cultivated throughout the years. Now, in the process of doing that, you're going to hear no a lot. And I think in sales, in businesses, anything that you do, you're gonna hit that wall. How did you manage in your early years, and what would you say to young people now that are getting into the B2B like
Yeah.
sales?